Shortcuts for Your Soul. My name is William Michael Forbes. I want to welcome you to our daily show, our tri-weekly show, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And today we're going to be discussing the death of fear with Lord Metatron. Some call him Archangel Metatron. It does not matter. The message is more important than the dressing around it. So let's see. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Just wait a few minutes for everybody to come in. While that's happening, I'll grab myself some glasses and water. There we go. Thank you. Now, one of the things you're going to discover while you're in this physical dimension is that this physical body is a survival-based mechanism. This body that you find yourself in, that you traveled lifetimes through, that you traverse dimensions and galaxies and multiverses through to experience what you are hearing with your ears now, that this physical body is a survival mechanism. It is based in polarities of what you call fear and love. And how could you distinguish yourself from all else unless you were able to have something to contrast yourself with? And so you find yourself in fear, in anger, and wondering, when will this end? Well, it ends when you realize who you are, and that the vehicle no longer determines what you shall think, or what you shall feel, or what you shall say, or what you shall do. That and those are for you to determine and to decide when you come to the understanding of what your true relationship is with matter, time, and space as a creative intelligence. As a creative intelligence, because this is what you are. You are a creative intelligence that has come into this realm of what you call polarity. Although you yourself are not subjective to them, you have the opportunity to learn from the experience of being in matter, or to deny the experience of living in matter. Either way, your existence is not simply localized to that physical form, but it is at this point so that you could understand how it is you can transcend your fear. I called this one today the death of fear, because in that moment, when you remember who you are, you will have absolutely no more fear whatsoever. There will be no anger, nor doubt, nor guilt, nor shame when you understand just exactly who you are. Much of the confusion around who you think you are comes from what you have acquired in this world. There is often a big distinction in vibration and perception between what you are and what you are experiencing in this realm. But that gap between one and the other can be eventually eliminated when you begin to comprehend that your body and the identity that you have been given by your environment are simply instruments through which you can express who you are when you begin to remember what you are not. As you begin to distance yourself from the thoughts as being the source of your identity, as you begin to distance yourself from the emotions as being that which defines you, and begin to understand their proper perspective in relationship to who you are, you will begin to understand that thoughts are creative conceptions and emotions are the substance that gives those conceptions expression in a material form. But neither of them are you. Although you may be perceived by this world and others around you as being, oh, that person who did this great thing and that wonderful task, or that one who was a terrible person and did all those horrible things. Many will see you as that body, and they will see your achievements as you, but nothing could be further from the truth. They are simply manifestations along the way of your process in beginning to discern who you are and hopefully reveal it to the world in all its incredible glory. For if you could glimpse upon the light of even one angel or one master, you would understand you'd be looking into the reflection of your own soul in this, even that which fashioned your consciousness so that it could be individual. When you smile upon it, it will smile back towards you, and you will realize, I am that I am, and I am home. The death of fear begins when you begin to assert your consciousness over the fabrication of identification that you've been given by this world. When you begin to assert your consciousness over the fabrication of the identity that the world has given you. In other words, you are able to transcend and overcome any thoughts or ideas that would move you and maintain you into a state of fear, and deliberately then align yourself to vibrational expressions, manifestations in thought that are based in a vibration that I will call love today. This vibration of love is different from fear in that it is not subjective to neither thought nor emotion, but utilizes both in the process of creation. I hope you understand this, that you, from the perspective of who and what you truly are, when you begin to grasp that, recognize that the thoughts and emotions contained within your perception of this mind and body can be refashioned deliberately and intentionally by who you are. The hand of love, when put to the plow, will transform and transcend conditions of mind and matter in the most exquisite, delicious, and delightful ways. Many of you have been calling us to assist you in this process. It is one thing to ask for assistance. It is another thing to surrender responsibility. We will not take responsibility for that which you are capable of doing yourself, but we will certainly illuminate the way that you may see the steps before you and ascend those same stairs that we too also ascended. And you do not have to leave the body to do this. You can simply awaken to who you are. Many of us find it very interesting that you want to be free of your suffering, but you are wanting somebody else to do it for you. That will not work. How could you possibly become a limitless creator if you limit yourself, or believe that you do not have the capacity to alter and initiate the changes that you wish to see embodied in your world? You can. But first you must get unsnared from the confines of this identity, this ego, this personality mechanism of thought and body that have enslaved you to limiting beliefs and ideas that simply do not reflect accurately who you are. And to the degree and extent that you are enslaved by the contents of that mind and body, you can also be liberated from the contents of that mind and body by way of choice, consciously altering and changing the conditions of your thought and your emotional energy fields. In changing those, you begin a process of, we'll say, remodeling your house so that it is more pleasing to you. The death of fear can come quickly or slowly, depending upon the effort that you are willing to exert. And just how much effort are you willing to exert to experience who you are as a vibrational extension of infinite potential or love? That infinite potential can also be infinite suffering, depending upon which way you choose to align your consciousness. For we have seen many of you spend lifetimes in deep suffering, and we've seen many of you spend lifetimes in great service and love and compassion and creation. The choice is ultimately up to each and every individual, to come to the understanding of what their expression of love is in thought and in action. If it exists in thought, it will exist in emotion. If it exists in emotion, it will exist as an expression through your body. Just as if fear or anger exists in your mind, the thought that is connected to the fear or anger that is in your mind will organize emotions, which will organize actions. You see, there are only two ways, fear or love. You are the love element. The mind and body require that. You came to this earth in response to a call for love. And I would say to you that the love that you call for was to awaken to your own. For the love that you are is universal and not separate from that which fashioned your individual awareness and ours. A deeper understanding will come to you as you begin to liberate yourself from thoughts and emotions that simply aren't yours. Do not allow anything to come into your consciousness that would not assist you in attaining your goal of liberation. For this is what love is. Love is the liberation. Your love is your liberation. And your love is what you are. And are you willing to take in the efforts and the pains to liberate your mind from suffering? If you are, then we can assure you that not only will you begin to hear us in the spectrum of love, as equally as you can hear darkness in the spectrum of suffering. We see it all the time, that those of you that are aligned to your pain and your suffering so deeply struggle until finally the suffering is too much and you are forced to surrender your suffering. One way or another, you will return home. It is much preferable that you do it by choice rather than to be dragged across a bed of nails when you can simply walk around it. When he came to me this morning, it's very clear to my mind, anyway, what he says, that the nature of what we are is love, and the nature of our minds and our bodies is fear. These are animal bodies. The nature of the body is pleasure, pain, right? And that pleasure and pain is maintained by avoiding things that are harmful and moving towards things that give it pleasure. On the mental level, it's thoughts and ideas that are, again, either going to instill fear or love in your body. And he said, people have to choose. And so that's what he's here to say today. Choose. Choose to surrender the thoughts that do not from love's heart come. Do not indulge in them. Surrender them. For some of you, it will be very difficult, for you are so entrenched in the creative effects of negative thought that you feel bound to those negative emotional states as if they are more real than you are. It is very funny to us that you would find that your suffering eclipses who you are, but that will be short-lived, relatively speaking, in divine terms. However, in human terms, it can last days or weeks or months or years or even lifetimes. But at any moment, you may choose to say, wait a minute, these thoughts that are going on in my mind are not who I am. What thoughts then would go on in my mind so that I can remember who I am? For it is as much a remembering as it is a knowing. Wow. Good morning, everybody. Hello, Jana. Hello, Nicole. Hello, Maria. Hi, Ruth. Patricia. Yeah. Yes, sure is. Question from Jana. What is the current next best step on my way to clarity. Thank you. This is not a matter of uncertainty, but a matter of choice. You can easily discern what thought or action is in closer to alignment to what you feel yourself to be as this vibrational state of, we use the term good or joy or excitement or love. They all kind of fit together on one wing, whereas fear and uncertainty fit together on the other. You will find that if you begin the process of surrendering your uncertainty, even in the face of undertaking new projects, even in the face of undertaking new projects, that fear or uncertainty has no hold upon you in your choice to move forward to that which you desired. Many of you desire a lot of wonderful opportunities, many things that will give you pleasure, but then you find yourself faced with having to deal with something you've never dealt with before in order to get it. And that is just natural. When you attempt to go into a new direction, you will experience new events and circumstances, times and opportunities. And your willingness to surrender your uncertainty in those moments will give rise to that which you seek as being the natural expression of who you are. Thank you, Jana. Question from Faradiba. My deepest gratitude. Yes, thank you. I thought it was a question. Thank you. Question from Vertical Connection. If a soul group agreed on experiencing difficult circumstances once incarnated, can they aspire to transform to nobler and positive actions? Well, of course, this is exactly why you chose this. What better way to define yourself than to recognize what you are not? And in the overcoming of that suffering, there will be but one thing that you will find, and it is called peace. In the surrendering of your suffering, there will be peace. Whether it is an individual or a group, the process is universal. Even your entire species right now is engaged in this process, this distinction between fear and love. And it is coming to a great crescendo of events that will unfold in the coming year. You will observe that there are those that choose to live in fear, and there are those that choose to live differently. But the choice is always the same. If one chooses to surrender their suffering, there will be no more suffering. If one chooses to hold on to it, then they will hold on to it. It will continue. The choice is always within the individual and what you call the collective. And so you find yourselves as a species struggling which way to go now. And we would simply say to you that that choice, where your happiness is assured, where you do not function from your fears nor your doubts, you will then find greater liberation collectively and individually. Do not let your thoughts and your actions be born of fear, for there is only one result that you can have from such. Let your actions be born of love and joy and possibility, and you will find your home fairly quickly. Thank you, Vertical. Question from Di. What is the process to forgive crimes done against us? Should we speak up against them or to forgive the criminals? The process of forgiveness that you speak of is one that was not meant to be so much for others as it is for the individual. Again, the process you're seeing on the planet is both an individual one and a collective one. If you stand fast stand fast in your understanding of love's expression. If you avoid standing in your love's expression of fear, then you will find yourself struggling greatly. Surrender your fear towards anybody or anything. Harbor no fear in your consciousness. Even though others may, let them have what they will have, but do not hold on to your fear. Forgiveness simply means to release yourself from that which is unnecessary. And fear is absolutely unnecessary in the realm of what you truly are. It is only necessary in the realm of survival, which is what that physical form is predominantly based in. The conditions of surviving through the conditions of pain or pleasure. But it should be fairly easy to forgive yourself if you're willing to stay strong in your love, to honor what you know to be truthful. But let others have their lies, for their lie will eventually lead them to the truth, because a lie will ultimately bring them to suffering, and this suffering in turn will lead them to freedom. It is a funny thing, is it not, that you have to go sometimes into the darkness to return again to your light. But do not do so unnecessarily. For many of you that come here because you are already aware that fear is not your nature, and your body and your mind are learning to align to you in that. Well, so too the collective humanity is in that same process, where you as a unified species are vacillating between fear and love, and the process of forced compliance in any regard already implies that one who is forcing it is stuck in their fear. Do not accept the fears of others as if they were your own, for then you will have to live with them as if they were. Thank you. Thank you for that super chat, Nicole. She's asking for a message from Lord Metatron. Something about busy streets. Go quietly among the busy streets. Find your peace there. Not in there, but while you are there, be at peace. Go among the busy places and be at peace. He's saying this will have the effect of demonstrating that you are clearly able to distinguish yourself from what the world has made you to be. Many of you find yourselves going out into the world and you're lost in what you see and what you hear. And the purpose of your coming here was to liberate yourself from it, as interesting as that sounds. Simultaneously, also learning to create expressions of love. As equally as some have come here to create expressions of fear in order to return to love. And this is a resolvable paradox, but go to that place where it is the busiest and stay in your peace. Stay in your peace and watch the world from that place, and you will find an interesting gift from this. Wow, thank you, Nicole. Yeah, how many of us can do that? Go out there, go out there with the people, walking down the streets, and you see people. We live here in Toronto. We walk down the streets, and there are people lying on the streets, and there are people yelling and screaming at these entities that are possessing them, and to not get lost in that, to not get caught up in their fear, but to have compassion and understand that that person is engaged in that energy because they're trying to figure out how to get out of it, right? Sometimes you can help them, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes food and clothing are not enough. The journey is theirs, the battle is theirs. Question from Tanya. The water filter I'm drinking is an alkaline one. Is this good water for me? You spoke about going spring water, but I use this. Yes, there are. Yes, from personal experience, yes, there are filters that you can use, and there are things you can certainly use to remove heavy metals like cadmium and barium and lead and aluminum, mercury from the body. There are things you can do to do that. You might want to look up a substance called zeolite. Interesting. But yeah, that filter will work fine for you. Keep using it. But change the cartridges regularly. Don't let them get dirty. You defeat the purpose. Question from Savannah. I tend to see angel numbers a lot. I feel like my spirit guides are trying to tell me something, but I can't seem to understand what they're trying to say to me. This question has come up a lot, and it's been answered multiple times, so I'm going to answer that. Yeah, when you get angel numbers repeating, or you get that flash of light, what a lot of people make the mistake of doing, they get caught up in the phenomena. Wow, I keep seeing the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 6, 62, 62. I keep seeing these number sequences, 7, 7, 7, 7. Wow, there's a flash of light. The phenomena are to draw your attention to the message that it contains. And the message isn't contained in the phenomena. The message is contained in the feeling that the phenomena has. In other words, so you feel that when you see that number sequence next time, Savannah, those angel numbers, when you see them, stop and feel the energy. What is the feeling from that? Not what the numbers are, but the feeling, because in the feeling is the message, right? When they told me that a few years ago, it made a huge difference in terms of how I experience when they're trying to get to me. If I'm too thick-headed sometimes, and I'm caught up in my stuff, and they're trying to get through me, they'll send me a signal like that, and I know in that moment to drop what I'm thinking and just go into the feeling of the message, and it's in the feeling that the message carries, not the phenomena of the message, not the phenomena of the message. It's the feeling behind the phenomena that you want to tap into. Great question, Savannah. Thank you for asking. All great questions. Yes, definitely. Wonderful. Question from Adam. Can you ask Archangel Metatron on why the astral body is divided into so many layers? What is the significance of this? Can he explain from a metaphysical standpoint? You must understand the nature of these divisions is illusionary. That while you came into this form that you are finding yourself in, its natural tendency is to separate things. When you came into matter, you moved into a state of separateness, at least by degree from that which you are. These changes that you seek to find in the process of liberating yourself from the illusionary energy. Yes. You will find that these will dissolve away in your breath. These will dissolve away in your breath. You must learn to release the divisions and align yourself to the one. You asked for a metaphysical explanation of how I would tell you to do this, but I would say simply, in your breath, you may end all divisions. Not simply the breath of your body, but all to which it is connected as well. For when you exercise this process of breathing in your body, you are also exercising that process of breath through time, space, and non-linear time and space, through the very layers. You can have them breathe together, and then those which seem to be separate work as one, much the same way as you may coordinate a hand to open or close, or a body to walk forward. That which is divided is united when it is consciously and deliberately utilized. So when you access these different fields of energy, do not see them as separate, but you may see how they blend together with each other. And in your breath, you may feel that alignment. You may move your awareness beyond the confines of the form. You may move your awareness into the space where you can actually feel the layers of energy as they work together. Much like you see the rings in a tree or the petals in a rose, they are all contained within each other. They open together. They will close together. They will expand together. They are not separate from one another. If you release this perception of division, you will find yourself establishing greater understanding and harmony in regards to that which you are wishing to understand. Simply in a breath. You're not simply breathing that body. When you breathe that body, you are affecting many things. But this requires you be willing to expand your awareness to recognize this. And in that, I would say your greatest outcome will arise in that process of awareness, being aware of how it all simply works together. Wow. Thank you, Adam. Great question. Yes. Question from Sunny. Does Archangel Metatron have a message for me? Thank you. So, something about a rhythm, a drum. There's something about a rhythm. You have to move. There's a rhythm. I'm trying to. Use a drum. Use a drum, and gently strike it, and feel. And strike it again, and feel, and strike it again, and feel. Find the unity in the rhythm. Find the unity in the rhythm. It is not simply the mechanism. There is a greater rhythm that you will become aware of. To close your eyes as you begin to feel the rhythm. This will enable you to open your eye. To open your eye, not simply to the rhythm of matter, but the rhythm of your being. And there's a breathing, he says to it. Have your breathing work with the rhythm. Cool. Thank you. Got time for one more question, guys. Hi, Grace. Grace. Yes. This is very wise. Why would you choose to suffer? They do not understand how you can be so different. But you do. And you can't understand why they cannot change what they see and what they believe. But it is not everyone's turn to climb the stairs at the same moment. Have patience and compassion for they that choose to stay in their own suffering, but do not stay there with them. But do not judge them either. This move will be very joyous for you. Do not fear in your own capabilities to sustain yourself. That is a matter of choice also. But I see you being very successful in this and fulfilled. Remember, they are not necessarily in the same place of consciousness that you are, although you can see where they are. There is a tendency to want to assist those that seem stuck, but they are stuck because that is where they need to be, to get unstuck. You only find yourselves in states of suffering because you wish to liberate yourself from it. Please understand this. You find yourself where you are, whether you are suffering or living in love, you are there because you have decided to go there. Suffering, again, is a very appropriate contrast to who you are so that you can quickly make a choice about whether or not you wish to remain there or not. Wonderful. Oh, you're welcome. Anyway, guys, well, there's still time to register. Tonight at 6 p.m. we are starting the 5 days of awareness, and we got 5 ascended masters that will be coming to join us during these 5 days. You can go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com/shop, and you can click on the event and see all the details for it, what the schedule is, who's coming, and what the subjects will be. But it's 5 days of awareness where you can, through discussion and meditation, begin a conscious and accelerated process of differentiating yourself from your mind, of being able to establish yourself in more of who you are as a being as opposed to a mind body. From the perspective of being, you can make real changes in your mind and body that you can't from within it. A lot of people believe they are their thoughts, they are their body. This is who I am. A lot of people believe that's all there is to them, and so they're struggling all the time to figure one thing out. This 5 days of awareness will let you step outside of being stuck in the matter of your mind and body. Anyway, I invite you to come and join us. And for those of you that have already signed up, you have your itineraries in your Gmail today. I look forward to seeing you at 6 p.m. this evening. It's going to be really, really, really cool. We're going to have some really wonderful beings with us. And if you're also interested in learning how to become a medium, you can go to my website and look up our courses and classes. It's in the courses section on my website, williammichaelforbes.com. And join us for our Mediumship 101 program, which starts August the 28th. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday on Shortcuts for Your Soul. And again, thank you, everybody. Much love, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye for now. And thank you, everybody.